what does it mean? Or when we have the issue of Bishul Akum. Okay. So we'll start with the Torah. We'll go to the Rabbi. On page 37b, Lamed Zayin Amud Beis, the Gemara asks, how do we know the Siyata Dishmai? I'm sorry I came late. I had a meeting with my daughters. Two of my daughters are not in school yet, in the seminar, and I'm running around from place to place to try to bring them into some good school. So it's out of my control. That's the reason I came late. So the Gemara asks, how do we know that cooked food of goyim are prohibited? And the Gemara brings down the name of Rabbi Yochanan. We learn from the Torah. It's a hekesh that when the Jewish people went in the desert and they asked to drink and eat from Edoim, and they said we'll pay for it, there's a hekesh between water and food. Same way water, fire didn't change. Also didn't change the creation. Also, the food didn't change creation. That type of food we can eat. And the Gemara says, doesn't say the word fire. And the Gemara says, you're right, it's asmachta. It's really with the Rabbon, it's asmachta. And then right away, the Gemara brings a machloikes, what Rav said. Rav Shmuel Aritza said, Rav says, that anything, kol hanechal mini lamed chet amud aleph. Kol hanechal kemoi shu chayim b'shul goyim. Anything you can be eaten raw, there's no bishul. Means in order to have bishul akum, as you cannot eat it raw. There's an argument what Rav said, what Rav Shmuel Baritza said name of Rav. Anything that does not be eaten on tables of kings, with a bread or parper, whatever it is, there's no bishul akum. And my benai, what's in between two of them? A small fish. They cannot eat it raw, but it doesn't go up on shulchan melochim. So if you cannot eat it raw, there's no bishul akum. Cannot eat it. Sorry, if you cannot eat it raw, means there is a bishul akum. Cannot eat those small fish raw. So since you cannot eat it raw, so it's bishul akum. According to the second law showing that says it doesn't go on tables of kings, or it goes on table of king, this doesn't go on table of king because it's cheap food. So you have cheap food which is not on tables of kings, but you cannot eat it raw. So mitzad cannot eat it raw, should be bishul akum. Mitzad, it doesn't go on tables of kings. There's no bishul akum. And the Rishonim, Rabbeinu Tam, Toisves, many other Rishonim learn that one opinion adds on the other. It's not an argument. One adds on the other. And they bring a proof that Gemara made in Ikabenayu only one way. That according to Enech Chai is Bishul Akum, and according to the Shita of that doesn't go on tables of king, so I have here a small fish that you cannot eat it raw, but still is not Bishul Akum, mitzad that doesn't go on tables of kings. So it seems as according to the second tradition, it's mutter we are lenient, there's no Bishul Akum. And Toshis brings the rayas to it, many rayas, but that's the way to learn the Gemara. Yes. Not because it's raw. It cannot be eaten raw. Yes, only when is Bishul when you cannot eat it raw. According to the second point, when is Bishul when it goes on tables of kings. What will be if it's only one of them? If it's only one of them, cannot be eaten raw, but it doesn't go on tables of kings, or opposite. Goes on tables of king, but he can eat it raw. So then it's lenient, it's not a Bishul Akum. It has to have both in order to be Bishul Akum. Yes. That's why Taisus, Rabbi Nutam, and all the Rishonim learn the sugi. Oh, let's talk about sushi. Sushi, it's a raw fish. It goes on king's tables, but the rice, talk about the fish or the rice. 1 second. Rice is something you cannot eat raw, and rice goes on tables of kings. 1 second. So mitzad the rice. 1 second. It's very, very important. From the rice point, should be bishul akum, but the rice has also fish inside, and the fish can be eaten raw. You eat it raw. Maybe you have to salt it. Question is, salt is considered cooking or not? Salting is not considered cooking. Kavush, kavush, or your maluach is not considered cooking. Mitzad isur is only fire. So we learn from fire, and it's a smachta. The smachta teaches it needs fire, so it's only salt. So then you can eat it salted or it's salted. It's not bishul akum. Now what happened if part of the food it is bishul akum, part of not? Then we follow which part? You have to follow the ikar. There you go. Ikar, if the ikar is the fish, so email is no bishul akum. If the ikar is the rice, it's bishul akum. Question: what's the ikar?
Like the crack of the herring. The fish is not important. The rice just covers the fish.
Okay, that's a shaila. Whatever you're going to decide, you have to think about it. What's ikar, what's tougher.
A sushi tuna you can eat raw, and it's big fat pieces, and it goes on
raw without salt even.
nothing. It tastes delicious raw.
Without any salt.
Nothing. It's better with lemon and a little bit of salt, and you fry it a tiny bit on each side. But it can be eaten raw, and it's very good raw, just straight like that.
Okay, so tuna fish that doesn't need to be cooked. Tuna fish that doesn't need to be cooked.
And it goes on
sushi tuna fish.
Right.
And you know that they used canola oil or olive oil, which is kosher. And
Good.
the rice, the only shaila is only not giule akum, because ordinary kalim of goyim is pagum. So the lo b'nei yoimim is pagum. There's no problem of bliois. The only problem is in an industrial place, no problem. The only problem is bishul akum. So mitzad the rice, there is a problem of bishul akum. Mitzad the tuna fish. So then there's no bishul akum. And if the main thing is a tuna fish, so then it's mutar, according to what we just said now. Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Mitzad bishul akum. Okay. What? Might have to know what the ingredients they put in. But if all the ingredients are kosher, there's no problem with bishul akum. Potatoes, or they put carrots, or let's say they put vegetables inside. Avocado. If they put avocado inside, all those things, all those other things they put in, that you can't say that's the main. But fish, you could say it's the main. Fish is ika main. Maybe even. I'm not even sure.
You're right. Right. You're right, and see.
Okay, so the rice they used to give it a taste, or the rice is eco? What's the eco? Fish the eco, so they made us no bishul akum. And if the fish can be eaten raw, there's no bishul akum. But if fish cannot be eaten raw, there is bishul akum. What? Yeah. If it's not eco. Because by bishul akum we don't follow. It's not like normal isu. There is isu, and there's mamoshus, and there's tam, there's pras, mamosho, taimo. No, you talk about bishul akum. The ois only the thing itself. But if you mix with taroives and bliois, we don't oiser by bishul akum. Yes, doesn't matter. Taroives and what? So what is it? He's saying it's not mixed as well, you can't see it. Yeah, but I don't think so. I think if you look at the Shulchan Aruch's cases, panada, you have like a bread inside. You have chicken, you have meat, or things like that. Kosher meat, kosher bread. But there's a question of bishul akum. Those type of things, you follow what's the ikar. There you can see each thing on its own. The case of the Shulchan Aruch that they bring the taroiv is each thing on its own. Okay. It's not, one second. Let's go back. We going off the topic. What we want to know is what the goal? What is the goal of the Shiur? Goal of Shiur is what are the factors that makes Bishul Akum? Okay, and to understand the factors. What are the factors and to understand what it means? That's our goal. So the Gemara brings down a smachta that the fire should change the bria. Now, what is a bria? Bria means shape. Bria means that you cannot be eaten, now you can eat it. Bria means, what does bria mean? It's not clear. Simple bria means the shape and form. Then the Gemara says it cannot be eaten raw. That's a factor. And the Gemara adds another thing as to that it goes on tables of kings. Now, yes, surah is cannot eat raw. Eating, you can eat raw. Right. I don't know. The Rashba wrote that he could eat a raw. We learned today, right? What? What's the reality? I don't know. I don't know. Right. It means that if you make the Gemara says that chitin v'asan klayot a change. The Gemara says if the factors change, so chitin v'asan klayot, that a change should be also. It has to be shinui mibriatan, change from the creation. And chitin v'asan klayot, the creation will not change. Now, of course, what does the creation mean? The shape didn't change, but the taste changed. Before it was bitterness, now it's sweet. Klayot are sweet, become sweet. So the taste, the texture changed, but the shape and form didn't change. So the Gemara at the beginning is, if you say the point is shinui, lo nishtanu, chitim asan, of course it is nishtanu, should be also, and we know it's mutar. So chitim asan nishtanu, change, but it wasn't changed with briatan. So the Gemara says it's change, but not bria. What is change and what is not? So if you say change the taste, or change that he couldn't eat, now he can eat. Taste or not eating, you don't know, it's not clear. Taste definitely change. From not eating to eating, I don't know. לא כתוב מה, כתוב שזה נשתנה, אבל לא מבריאתו. מה? שתי אפשרויות. You can say that when it's raw, you cannot eat it, now you can eat it. That's the change, but it didn't change the form. Or you can say no. Before, you could not eat it, and now you could eat it. So that's called change. The change of the creation could be form, or cannot eat now, could be eaten. So should be also chiti basar klayot.
Like
it has to be that klayot cannot be eaten before. I don't know. Who knows the reality? Anyone so strange you can eat it raw? No, the question klayot or chitin. Chitin. Okay, so Almonds, I know. Almond, green almonds, you can eat even with the shell. I used to do that as a kid too. Question is wheat. I don't know the reality, but let's say wheat, you can eat it raw before it dries. When you pick it up, you can eat it raw. So really, nothing changed, and we eat it, be able to eat before. So it didn't change its creation, means nothing changed in two things didn't change. Didn't change the form, and did not change that before you can't eat, now you can eat. Before you can eat, also now you can eat it better, more tastier, but you can eat it before and after. So it's not clear. Just 1 second. So the Rashba said, what the Rashba defines klayot? The Rashba we learned this morning. The Rashba says,
why are you only talking about roasting?
because that's the Gemara. Gemara brings that as an example.
Roasting?
Yes.
Because cooking also.
I don't see the Rashba speaks about kloyos. The Ram spoke about kloyos, not the Rashba. They're going kloyos. The Ram says that kloyos didn't change his creation. And what does that mean? So he says kloyos didn't change his creation, and even if it's something that cannot be eaten raw and goes on tables of kings, still there's no Bishul Akum on it because it didn't change its form. Which means that Rashba says afilu means it's not clear about it. It's unclear. How do I define? Because the Yerushalmi, he brought down the Meir, he brought the Yerushalmi that chitin and I made it kloyois. It's allowed because you cannot eat it raw. So it's not the Rashba, it's the Meir. Made a mistake. The Ran defines as kloyois something which the fire didn't change the format, but he says that even if you can consider that you cannot eat it raw and it goes on tables of kings, still is not Bishul Akum because the fire didn't change the format. That's the Ran. But it's not definite if I considered wheat as something you cannot eat raw or not. But the Meiri says, he brings the Talmud Ma'arovi, which means the Yerushalmi, that says clearly that kloyos are something that you cannot eat raw. Yes. Yes. The printed Bes Yosef, yes.
It says right there, to go Shiur,
Some people chew it raw. Yeah, I see. Yes. Some people will eat it raw. One second. Yes, the question we're dealing now. Let's finish point by point. First of all, we talked about chitim. So let's finish the noise. How do I define chitim? You see, it's a bilbul here. The Ran says chitim didn't change his creation. Fire didn't change the creation. Didn't change the format. He says that even if it's no problem of even though mitzad raw and shulchan melochim cannot be eaten raw and it goes on shulchan melochim. So the shlichoiro should be bishul Akum mitzad cannot be eaten raw. Afilu, he says the word. I'm reading the Ran. Let's see the Ran. Let's see the Ran inside. Okay, we talk. But I'll go inside slowly. But he says the word afilu means it's not clear to him. He says even if I want to define chitim, something you cannot eat raw, still it's no bishul Akum because it didn't change the format through fire. And he brings, and the Bes Yosef brings down the Rashba that chitim is something that people do eat raw. Some people chew it in the mouth and they eat it raw. So something which is no bishul Akum because some people eat it raw. And the Talmud Marov and the Miri brings down the Yerushalmi that you're allowed to eat chitim that you made the kloyos because you can eat it raw the way the Teresabah is brought. You can eat it raw. So The Meiri held Afil, which wasn't clear to him, because only some people eat wheat raw. Some. And not refuah. Yes, yes, bnei Odom. The Ran wasn't clear because it's only some. Do we follow the majority or some? Maybe the Ran held you follow the majority. And since majority wasn't, you had a suffix in it, we follow the majority or not. So he says, I feel even if I considered chitim, I follow the majority is considered cannot eat it raw, but still no bishul akum for the reason because the fire didn't change the format. So there's a big discussion in Achronim that we follow majority of people, majority of which people, the people of your city, of the world, who follow majority or even minority. Minority, majority of your area, or majority of people in the world. A lot of shittas here. Yes. Right. The Ramban too. Now there's even miuta miuta. It's a double is fake is a miuta the miuta. You look like a woman in this. No, it's miuta the miuta. It's even more less than miuta. So let's go back here. Now we're going to read the Ran. Go back to the Ran. So as far as kloyois, we understand that there's no machloikis in reality. Reality, some people, minority, are people eat it raw. They can eat wheat raw. The Ran says, even if I define that he cannot be eaten raw because you follow majority or majority of the world, of this area, he has a suffix and says, Afilu, still is not Bishul Akum because it's an Shinui from Briose. So now let's read the Ran inside. I'm reading out the Ran. If the fire changed the Bria, then it's also Mishum Bishul. So I'm reading the Ran. Elo. Yeah, but you're talking about the world in those days that they had fields and people were very connected to the fields and to the ground, and yet only some people eat it raw. Most people eat it dry in an oven or bread or pastries. Okay, flour. I am Ran al Arif Yudal Amud Beis. Elo midrabon. I'm reading the Ran on the first page and the bottom, the last 3 lines, the last paragraph in the first page. Elo midrabon the cross maktabal mokloima, which means mishum chasnus kemo shekosav Rabbeinu Tam shoseinu. Rashi Rabbeinu Tam says the reason why not to eat cooked food because she might marry the daughters. Or kedei shelo Yisrael rogi litzor machlo mishto mecher davar tomer kemo shekosav Rashi kan. Or another reason, because as Tosfos brought that both reasons are true, or because if you're going to be accustomed to be eating and drinking with a goy, what will happen? He might feed you double tummy. Benigally comes the Ran and he says, the Mikol Mokem, however, came and asmachta be'alma akro dunya dekro ba'inam. Since the Rabbanon brought a posuk as a smachta, so the asmachta definition still stays even in the Rabbanon. The culture of Nishtani Briosoin, if the creation would not change through fire, it's going kloyois, like dry grains. And he says the word here, Rabbi, afilu. Even, turn the page. Afilu dovo shenachal kemoshuchai. Even if something they cannot eat raw, is even. Decide, it is or not. Not clearly then. It's even if you're going to define wheat as something which you cannot eat it raw, so mitzad, that definition should be Bishul Akum. And mitzad, the second definition that it goes on tables of kings, it is Bishul Akum, because it cannot be eaten raw. Even if you're going to define as cannot eat it raw, and it goes on tables of kings, afilu achi, and the should be Bishul Akum, even though so it's not Bishul Akum, because of the third barometer. Because the fire didn't change the structure. No, the Ran has a suffix about it. And he says, Afilu hu dovo. Even if this kloyos is something cannot be known, it's even. Means some kloyos people do eat, or some people do eat. Or
But even if you consider that.
even if you consider, what do you mean if you consider it? Because you find the majority of people that don't do it. Most people don't eat wheat raw. You could, in theory, but only few people do it. Most people don't. It's not that there. So therefore, he says that even if you're going to consider grains and something you cannot eat it raw, and it goes on tables of kings, even if you find those two things, it's still not Bishul Akum because the fire didn't change the creation. Oh, let's take a steak. If I have a kosher steak, there's no problem of bishul of non-kosher, and I watch the goy cooking, so there's no problem of basar shaminai. The question is bishul akum on it. So steak, the fire doesn't change the steak. Do you eat it? Kings eat steak. Oh, they love steak. 1 second. Can you eat it raw? No. She cannot eat it raw. He could, but it's not normal people. Chinese, normal people. The Western world doesn't eat it. So what? Okay, but talk about normal is not. So steak is something you cannot eat raw. Steak is something that goes on tables of kings. And steak is something that the fire didn't change, is reality. So lichoiro, there's no bishul akum on steak. According to the Ran. לפי הר"ן סטייק מותר. כי אפילו שהוא לא נאכל כמו שהוא חי, גבול שלך מלכים, אבל כיוון שהאור לא שינה אותו, זה מותר. Right, אם אין בעיה של טרייפת, זה שואלים בעיה של בישול עכו"ם, לפי הר"ן, steak is permitted. Chicken, steak, if it's not cooked by water, just on fire, on you know, like, you go to those places, go, it's permitted, there's no bishul akum on it. Right, so there's no bishul akum. You don't need the Jew to light the fire. You don't need the Jew to light the fire. We just said, according to the Ran, what makes a bishul akum is not enough that you cannot eat it raw. It's not enough that it goes on tables of kings. It needs to be also that the fire changes and you're afraid that he puts something in the bottom, or the fire changes so it becomes a kosher food. The fire did something. But by steak, the fire didn't change its tzura. According to the Ran's definition. The shape and form didn't change. We'll see soon that changing bria is not necessarily form. It can be that I wasn't able to be eaten, not can eat. Now I can eat it. It's considered shinui bria also. Or you can never reverse what I did with the fire. So according to this is also number one. Number two is the question if the Ran, Rashi, and Rif ala alocha. There's two problems here. The definition of the Ran and if the Ran is not alocha. Lemaise, and even the emes, the Ran, even according to the Shach, the Ran is the ikr la alocha, but it's not alocha. It's only bishatat chak. Even according to the Shach, the Ran is only bishatat chak. In the Pri Chodesh we learned argues with him. Another Rishonim he argues. So Email is very hard to matir. But you could, because you have the Shach. And you have the Ran, Rashi, and Rif. That will permit the question even what's the definition? They are right, or the Meiri, or the Rashba are right. So according to the Meiri and the Rashba, true. You have to have the fire didn't change its creation, but it doesn't mean creation form. Means even if the change the head of the couldn't eat it, now he can eat it, it's like changing form. So the Meiri and the right. So Emela's steak should be still awesome. But anyhow, some opinion holds that steak that it was cooked by a goy, if it's kosher, there's no problem with shulach. The Shach says the words. The Shach says nigel ikar bashas. It looks to me that that's the main understanding in Shas, but the points keep arguing. Don't bring it. So normally we have this language. I saw in Mishnah in many places. Like for example, if a guy opens a light on Shabbos, can I use the light or not? So the machlokes Rishonim, what happened if he did it for himself and also for me? Both. Do you need only he did it for himself, and you may come later? But if he did it for you and for him, it's machlokes. The Rajba says permitted, and a lot of Rishonim argues that it's not permitted. But the Goy Vilna says, if you look in the sugya, it looks like the Rajba's the Ikar Pshat. So the Mishnah Berurah says, since the Goy Vilna says that the Ikar Pshat means that's the truth in the halacha, so B'shat Adchak definitely can rely on it. In a place of narrowness, pressure, pinching air time, you can rely on it. Let's continue the Ran. Comes the Ran and he says, V'chi amrinon, yes. It's kavanah that you can take it as an account, because that's a true, he thinks that's a truth in halacha. When we became rabbis, so Rabbi Yosef gave us the smicha, and he gave us a shiur. It was in the Ramana Renaissance. We had 36 people at the yeshiva became smicha, the rabbis. So he gave us a smicha and he gave a lecture. And the lecture was that a rabbi has to work hard to matik the people. People are stuck. You have to be strong. And he says, don't mistaking that when it says Bishat Adchak Erev Shabbos is permitted. Doesn't mean that because the person isn't sweating in problems, so you're allowed to be lenient on him. That's not the pshat. When a person is in pressure, so you follow the ikar. You don't machmir on him. The ikar, the truth of la sugya is permitted. You feel that that's the main pshat. That's the real true pshat. But let's say you 90% think in the balance of understanding that's the truth, but you always strict because maybe it's not. And then of Shabbos, you cannot afford to be afraid of that 10% that you're wrong. You follow the equal truth. The equal the truth is Lelina, and that's Bishat Adchak is permitted. So the opposite. When I say Bishat Adchak, you rely. That's what the Rabbi Yosef explained. He says you become rabbis. You have to know. You have to have koach. You have to learn the sugya well, and you have to be thematic. You have to have strength. That's the equal truth. Okay. Someone's trying to argue. So I'm always afraid. I'm from fear. If I'm not being 100% certain, you're strict. But at the time of narrow, you follow the Ikar Pshat. So that looks to me, feels that's the truth. Opposites. So that's Pshat Nashar. Anyhow, let's continue on. The Mishnah Berurah says that if the guy has in mind you and him, you're allowed. You rely on the Rashba. V'chi amrin, I'm reading the second line from the top in the Ram. V'chi amrin on Elomi de Rabbonon, when the Gemara says it's not Doraisa with the Rabbonon, lo akri legamu, we didn't uproot totally. My damrin on the Rashba, we said until now, that my mind from the Shtan, we also water didn't change his creation of the oil through fire, of oil also food. That we didn't change. And the love drosha mamish, it's not a real drosha, it's only a reliance, but that barometer, that what defines food that is be also food of goyim, cooked food of goyim, the cooked food of goyim, what is a factor that makes it cooked food of goyim is also that the fire changes creation. Aur shino mi brios. For brioso normally means form. We'll see later on, the Miri, the Rashba learn different. That's the word, briato. Form, like you said, form, yes. But I'm a dafke narrow I'm very tzamud to the translation of the literally of the word, because later on we're going to see that the word briosa can be translated other ways. What? Yes.
Every creation, Hashem asked him first, I'm going to make you a cockroach. You happy with that? So that's like the Riyata. Form of that.
The Medrash? Sharo. Wow. Psh. Wow. Couldn't hear him? He said that when Hashem created the world, yes, every creation you will be willing to be a cockroach.
Whatever creation is
If it
happening.
Means-
Stop.
No, even a cockroach agreed to be a cockroach.
You're gonna be a cockroach. And you.
Not all the creation, only the cockroach is. All creation, if they agree to be who they are. That does not sense. I thought you said something a different Kiddush. That all the creation, Mina Shamayim, I need to hear well. See, Mina Shamayim, yes. All the creations Hashem asked them, they will be to be what they are. They all agree to be happy what they want. Even a cockroach agreed to be a cockroach. Even. Okay. Why? Yes.
Doesn't change its creation. Myself for the process of change, some sort of change. Because anything you put on fire, what is something you put on fire that does definitely change it?
Vegetables, it starts melting and loses form. That's why when I said creation, right, Rabbi Pia asked me, you mean form? So I said, yes, but I'm saying the word creation because we'll see some other Rishonim later on. And I said, you're making a mistake. Creation not necessarily means form, could be also form. It could be other things. That if it changed and you couldn't eat it, and now can eat it, you change the reality of it, that it can be eaten is also like changing its creation. Yes. Yes, removing. Yes.
The truth is that inside, I think that if you take a microscope or whatever, and you see, you cook something, even though that the form doesn't change, inside the
Molecules
change, everything change. It can be possible that it was salty and now it's sweet without having change inside. That's just that we don't.
Not only that, before, right? The fat become cooked fat, saturated fat, and other things, right? It's true. But it's not. Right, but question of definition on what level.
It should be the external appearance of the form.
Yes.
Not the-
Normally is the external appearance. That's a simple meaning of that. So let's continue on. Yes. What's your name, by the way? Ma Hashem Shelcha. David Shlomo, yes. ככה אמירי לומד. ככה לומדים. יש כאלו שלומדים, נראה את זה בסוף. לא היית פה בבוקר? אז נראה שיש שיטות שלומדים ככה. אבל הר"ן למד שבריאתו פירושו צורה, ולא שהאש שינה את המהות שלו, של כל אחד לאכול, ועכשיו אפשר לאכול. ככה הרשב"א לומד, אמירי, מה שאתה אומר. זה עוד שאלה. There's another shaila. When I say goes on tables of kings, what does that mean? So some Mefarshim learns table of king means I can invite my friend on it. Some other learns that the material is such a good material that if they put all the spices and whatever, the additive that the kings put, they will use this as a material, as a basic material for the food of kings. That's what it means. Through spices, through honey, through this, that. לפי פירוש אחד, כן. רשב"ם ורש"י לפי הגוש השני, נכון. אבל יש קושיות על זה, מביצה. למה ביצה צלויה אסורה? אי אפשר להכניס לפנים דברים אחרים? זהו, זה הקושיה של פי חודש על זה. נדבר על זה, אנחנו הולכים לדבר על זה לא הרבה זמן. We don't have much time. I hope people learned it inside. Came late. But let's get at least finish the Ran, and I will do the Ran and maybe the Pri Chodosh. See what we can succeed to do. וזהו, I'm reading the Ran. וזהו היתרון של קלויוס. This is the heter of קלויוס, מפני שלא נשתנו מבריוסון. You know why I like to eat קלויוס? Because it didn't change the creation. ולא מפני שהוא נחולים כמו שיש חיים. Here, kloyos, we permit, not because you cannot eat it raw. Sorry, because you could eat it raw. That's not the heter. The heter is because the fire didn't change the form. So why we don't use the heter that kloyois you can eat it raw? Because only some people do that. At all. We have to follow the majority. ומדיבר רש"י לעמדתי, I learned from רש"י, שכוסר לקמון בברייסה דהקמון והכליות, דחמין. You have hot water, kloyois, mutorim apiminin, b'nei shel nishtan briyos, and didn't change the creation of the owl through fire. The kloyois now don't nishtan watkan, and kloyois didn't change too. That's what Rashi says. Alma, we see from Rashi, eteigot lo nishtan briyos, and the heter that didn't change his creation, amaskona amikoi, goes also according to the maskona. So what do we got? What do we have? The Ran made a revolution. The Ran says, although we have what defines cooked food of goy they cannot eat. What does cooked mean? Cannot eat raw and has to go on tables kings. He says not enough. You need a third barometer. In order to become cooked food that a goy did he cannot eat, has to be that the fire should change his creation. So if one of those three is missing, it's permitted. The Ran has a very big leniency. Almost there's no food almost that are also by going. Steak, chicken, chicken, all those things you change the creation unless you have soup, chicken soup. And even then, most chicken soup, the chicken doesn't get destroyed, it doesn't get melted. You can see the chicken right there. So chicken, meat, fish, depends how strong it is, what is the strong to cook. Things that the fire didn't change the creation. There's no Bishul Akum. Even though it cannot be eaten raw, even though it goes up to tables of kings. And surely, if the fire did change it, but it doesn't go on tables kings, or you can eat it raw, is that also? So this Ran is a big revolution. Made the life of the Jews and Chutzah is very easy. Yippee! We have a Ran. And not only Ran, we have a Rashi. And not only Rashi, even the Rif. We have Rif, Rashi, Ran. שכוסר בחמין הכליות שולט ככל בסלטות, וכמכין שלהם כולם מותרים. He wrote, hot water, grains are being roasted in the oven of goyim and slotois, and akim, which means flour, כולם מותרים, all of them permitted. The Ran added, ואם לאו שהוא זל סויבר כן. If it wasn't that a Rif held that, you know why it's permitted? Because, not because you can eat it raw, rather because it's the fire didn't change the form. No, it's saying lichtovs, you have to write it. Since he already wrote that anything you can eat raw or doesn't go on tables of king is permitted, why do you have to go again in details and write down about kloyois, roasted grains? You already said anything you eat raw, there's no Bishul Akum and roasted grain permitted. Because of that, why you have to write in detail suddenly? There's thousands of types of food. Out of all he made rules. Cannot eat it raw, goes on table. Then he starts talking about details. One of the things he brings is hot water and roasted grains. What do you have to talk about it? Unless he's telling you another barometer. There's not enough they cannot eat it raw. There's not enough that goes on the table as a king. But if the fire didn't change it, its form is permitted. That's the reason of kloyois. So we have a Rif, a Rashi, and Ram, all of them a big leniency. Whoa. Umenogle about the slow so he put it together with flour and nigga should save the attention close should nicht stand the reason why close for a minute because it wasn't changed through fire.
But there's no the other tonight is permitted.
Yes. You need Adarabah. Listen, in order to be also you need 3 reasons to listen. I need 3 scores to make it also. It's a big leniency. Who says Davon Tomei? That's Rashi. Yeah. And he can say, there's no like that. What? I said, you go to the streets, they have chestnuts. They have corns. They sell corns, hot corns in Europe and cold countries. I don't know in America, but I know in Europe and all those places, what? Chestnut, corn. There's a problem of bugs. But let's say there's no problem of bugs, and they don't put it, just put it on water, and give you salt. No problem. Why? Because although it cannot be eaten raw, maybe it could be eaten raw. I don't know if you can eat it raw or not. If you can eat it raw, it's not a problem eating it raw. But if you cannot eat it raw, and it goes on tables of kings, what do I mean? Can you invite your friend on a chestnut? I don't know. Maybe you do. Chestnut is something munchy. I don't know. Corn is something important. You can invite your friends on it. Maybe yes. But since the fire didn't change its form, it's permitted. Yes, go ahead. שלקות מימה של שולחן מלאכים. אתה לא יודע? למה לא? למה לא? אם זה תלוי איזה ירקות. יש ירקות שהם חשובים. potatoes, sweet potatoes. נכון, אבל גם מלכים אוכלים sweet potatoes and potatoes. They love it. They put different spices in it, this and that. Honey, kamun, kakum, I don't know what they put in, paprika, whatever they put in. They do baked potatoes and they put different basilicum. And I'm not a chef, but tell the chef to tell you, oh, we can do it. And it goes on kings. Lav dafka, lav dafka, lav dafka. לא, לא, מלכים. מלכים עושים את זה עם סטייל, הם שמים על זה כל מיני תבלינים, אבל הם משתמשים בזה. אחרת המלכים היו רזים, לא שמנים. סטארץ'. לא, נכון, אבל זה נכון, אבל גם הוא לא רוצה עוף, הוא רוצה להיות חלבי, פרווה, הוא לא רוצה חלבון, אז כשהוא אוכל דברים כאלו, הוא רק משתמש בתור בסיס.
Salt and pepper.
אתה שואל טוב, אני רק רוצה, אני דחיתי אותך בקש, כי אני רוצה לראות את הרמב"ם. The Rambam says, אבל הרמב"ם במזל כוסף, בפרק 17 מלכוס מאכולת הסוס, וכן כליות שבגיל חבים. Grains, dry grains in an oven of goyim, מותרים is permitted, לא יגוסו עליהם, the reason why they make decree, שאין אותו מזמן אסחבר על הקלויס. No man invite his friend on grains. So the Magi Mishnah, who says it, Rabbi Gavriel, that the Rambam learns that the definition Oilo Shulchan Melochi means that you can invite your friend on it. The Goy Mevilna. The Goy Mevilna says Pshat the Rambam. The Rambam didn't learn those three parameters. The Ram, Rashi, Rif learned you need 3 scores to make it Bishul Akum. Can I eat raw, tables of kings, and the fire needs to change its form, creation form.
You need all 3.
Yes. But the Rambam says no. Cannot eat it raw. And has to go on tables of kings. And kloyos are, you don't invite your friends on kloyos. Roasted grain, you don't invite your friends on roasted grain. On flour and pastries you invite. Unless you're a freak, organic freak, and this and that, you just eat healthy food. Eat some grains. Let's go and eat some grains. Come on, look at you. Eat cheesecake, that's what you invite me to eat on. It's not
fresh corn on the cob. Fresh corn.
Fresh corn, if you come from Canada, is good.
Yeah, with butter, salt.
What? Exactly, that's what it means. It means that he's going to invite and come next time too. So, according to the Goy Mevilna, is the Rambam didn't name it a third definition. He just explained the definition of Oil Shulchan Melochi. What?
Very nice.
כן. לא, הרמב"ם זה חתונה. Yes. And only Rashi, and the way that goes to Shri learns Pshat Rashbam, that why you need the fire to change the structure, because otherwise you don't worry for Dover Tov. That's a Chiddush of Nagoy Shri. But not necessarily the Ran learns like that. The Ran learns that you need besides cannot eat raw and goes to table to and a third barometer that the fire change of form. Who says the reason because of Dover Treif? No, maybe it's Chashivus. When the fire made a change, such a change of form is Chashivus, that type of food that you're not allowed to eat.
What about beer?
That was a problem of Shiur for the chef. and or clap to the chest, and then you marry his daughter. Not necessarily because Chash Dover Tomei. That's a good Shri.
What about
Not only that,
Okay.
the Pri Chodosh knocks out the Goy Shri. Let's see the Pri Chodosh. I'm jumping from the Ran to the Pri Chodosh. Pri Chodosh, Yoredesim Kuvit Gimel, because the Pri Chodosh knocks out the Ran. He knocks out the Goy Shri, and he knocks out the Ran. Okay, the Shach. Let's go over what's the halakha. Because today is the last shiur on the sugya Masachet Avodah Zara. Next week, Bezrat Hashem, we start in Masachet Kiddushin. I want everybody to start, get themselves Gemaras. We have papers, going to give out papers. Bezrat Hashem, the sugya Shvekes and Kekes. What? Perek Aleph, Kiddushin, Masachet Kiddushin. It's a beautiful big Kashmur, so an Aleph we learn. And papers we will bring down of Slabotka sheets of Shvekes and Kekes. Now, so what's the halakha? The Shulchan Aruch says, what makes Bishul Akum? What makes it? Two things. Cannot eat raw, Shulchan Melochim. And it goes on tables of king. That's what makes it Bishul Akum. The Shach says, no. Ikar la'alocha is the third sheet of the Ran, Rif, and Rashi, that the fire should change the form. And therefore, kloyois, green peas, all those things that the fire can change the form is permitted. And the Ram and Shach concludes, but all the poskim, the language is, they don't make the split, but that's the Ikar la'alocha, remains Mishadat Chag, you can rely on it. So we have a Chaber and Ramo, we have a Shach, and we have a Pri Chodosh. Pri Chodosh says they're totally wrong. That's not true. And he has few kashas against him, which you want to answer today, Bezrat Hashem. And Nimelo, what's the halacha? We finally have the Ran still exists because if we give answers to the Pri Chodosh kashas, so the Shach still can say that's the Ikar halacha. What?
If Shach the Hakim can be loyal, that means it's not that you.
No, he says the word. He didn't say Shach. I added Shatat Chag. I added that. The Rambam, the Shach says about Be'emes Nire Ikar B'Shas. True, it looks the Ikar in the Shas like the Ran. So I'm reading the Pri Chodosh. The Pri Chodosh has a Kasha on the Ran and a Kasha on the Goy Soshu. Okay? So we want to deal with those Kashas, give an answer to it. Okay? Let's see. I'm reading the Pri Chodosh. Siman Kuf Yud Gimel. You see the Pri Chodosh in the papers? וגם אוי לה על שולחן מלוכים בפרק אין מעניין מוכח דאויכל שלא נשתנה מבריאות להוא אין בשול עקום. Stop. Comes the Pri Chodosh says, although the Mechaber says what makes Bishul Akum, which doesn't have two things, cannot be eaten raw and it goes on tables of kings. But he says, if you look in the Gemara, it's muchach. What's the word muchach? Proven that the food that didn't change through fire is creation, is no Bishul Akum. וכדעס הר"ן, שכוסף רש"י, ושדברי הריף מתאים, ושלא רוב ראשונים שהביאו, he quotes the Shach seems to be. But the Shach says, although I found Rashi, Ran, and Rif, but, and I go to Shri, before I go to Shri, he didn't find other Rishonim that made this third Brahma. They only said, cannot eat raw, and Shulchan Melochim. They didn't say the fire needs to change. Doesn't say that. The Goy Sashri did bring Rashi and Rashbam. So we have Ran, Rashi, Rashbam, Agoy Sashri, and Rif. The Kosav and the Agoy Sashri added what you said. David Shlomo. That he said the brought the Goy Sashri. The Bishul going Nesar Mishum Gzeil or Shem Yechinu the Goy Davar Tomei. The reason why not to eat Goyish food, Goyish cooked food, because you're afraid he might feed you impure thing in the food. Also, if the food changes creation, you don't know what's inside. Only God knows inside. And there we're afraid. So why disturb barometer? What makes Bishul Akum also? It's only if the fire changes creation. It's tzua, so then you don't know what's inside. But inside, you're afraid of double tomei. This is a Goy Sashri. The Pirkei says, I'm not comfortable with the pshat of the Goy Shashri. Why? If the pshat of the chashash is you put in that the fire changed the format and you're afraid dovotom inside, so why roasted egg is prohibited as a shell? Where are you going to put something dovotom inside? The fire changed the creation because before it was clean liquid and red and yellow. Now it's white and strong yellow and solid and not liquid. To change. And the outside is a shell and didn't change. But there's no, if you want to say that the fire change, the reason is fire change and you need that because of that the goy can mix inside the otome. Why beitza tzluya, roasted egg is also a Bishul Akum. There's no chash of double tome. He says, I can't accept this pshat of the goy soshri. The God divrara, and he said, okay, the goy soshri is wrong. The Perichoda says, but what about the Ram? The Ram didn't say that you need to change the fire, need to change the structure, the tzura, because that you mixed double tome. He just stops, says, if the fire change it to the form, it's a double choshev, it's a cook, it's considered cooked. In main, there's a chash of chastus. So still it's not clear. Eino brurim, it's not clear about you. Why? The aini means tvarim. What is tvarim? Datilas. Datilas. You know datilas in Spanish or Portuguese? Datilas. The aini meiri. Meiri means bitter. Bitterness, datilas. Dates which are bitterness. Umetzi, middle, imta. They're not bitter, not sweet. The asiri, the Gemara says, is also page 38b. If you learn the Gemara simply the dates, that those dates didn't change the format through fire. Through fire and roasting. Most things which are being roasted by and fire, didn't change the creation. If so, let's permit all roasting of goyim. Because normal roasting doesn't change the creation. So he says, a kasha. How can you agree to the Ra? Let's go over what's the kasha. Here the Prichodosh knocks out the Agoy Soshri, and he knocks out La Alocha de Ram. Says the Agoy Soshri that says the reason why you need fire changes creation because then you don't know what's inside. So why an egg is roasted egg is also you do know what's inside. Okay. And he doesn't like that. So he says it's out of the picture. Elama, you're going to say like Deran, that if the fire changes structures, important food, which the rabbis prohibit such cooked food. If the fire made a change, the cook is involved. If that's a svara, we have a problem. So why those bitterness dates and middle dates, which is not sweet, not bitterness, is also, the fire didn't change the creation. Their fire is just roasting, and let's permit all roasting. So we look inside the Gemara. We had a big kasha on the kasha of the Prima Godim, of the Prichodosh. The Gemara says clearly, Aini Shluke. It says dates which Shaluk. If we open the Rashi in Masechet Brochos, and Perek, page 35b, and Perek Shishi, the Gemara says cooked food that are mevushal that I made shaluk. What does that mean? I took cooked food and I made it shaluk. Rashi says I overcooked it and it started melting. And the Gemara says aini shliki. Those dates which are shoylik means I cooked it so much that it started changing the form. It's not to melt. So what is he? It seems to me he's asking, since the fire of the roasting didn't change those dates, and yet it's also, and according to you, first of all, why it's also, and B, every normal roasting doesn't change the format of the form of the whatever you roast. Chicken, steak, dates, potatoes, squash you put on the barbecue. The fire doesn't change it, doesn't change the form. So the fire doesn't say, let's permit most roasting. We say in the economy, most roasting permitted. And those dates are not roasted, are being cooked well. The one calls it shokos. And nobody too, also an egg. An egg did change the form inside. So Deran Lichoyo, the kasha of the Yazaneran is weak. Not even, I don't understand even. The kasha of the Yazan goes to Shri, I don't have any answer unless you say Luplu. Enochanami. The Gemara didn't say. The Gemara only said that roasted egg is also. But didn't say all roasting is mutter also. So it could be. No, the Gemara is assumption. He assumed that the same way it says roasted egg is also means most roasted food are also. Like those dates, and he understands dates, those dates were not cooked. Rather, it was roasted. So maybe should be permitted. It must be, according to your definition, if the fire didn't change, should be permitted. Why we know most of roasting are also. That is assumption. That's his assumption. But who says it's true? Could be most all roasting change the fire, could not permitted. And an egg is also because it changed, the fire changed internal inside. And aini, those dates is shlokos, is not salui. That's why it's also here when you want to say David, what is his name? David Shlomo. What are two names, two opposite names? David Shlomo. Oh, very serious. Yes. נו, מה הבעיה? כן, אבל יש גדרים. אבל זה לא מתאים לפי הגדרים. לא. יש גזירה על... My friend, דוד שלמה, הגזירה לא היה על אוכל. הגזירה היה על כללים. נאכל כמו שהוא חי, דברים כאלו, יש כללים. לא אמרו אוכל. מה, אתה יודע שכמה אוכלים יש? יש מיליארד אוכל. יש אוכל ברזילאי, יש אוכל מנאוס, יש אוכל קולומביאני, יש אוכל יש ישראלי, יש בית לחם, יש ביתר, מלא אוכל. כן, אבל אם הגמרא אמרה כללים, סימן שהכלל כולל את הכל. ואם זה לא מתאים לכלל, צריך להיות מותר. הגמרא לא אמרה שצלייה מותר, ככה הוא מבין. הוא לא יכול שצלייה מותר, כי כל צלייה שלא משנה את הקריאה, זה מותר, זה מה שהגמרא אמרה בהתחלה, לפני האסמכתא, וזה נשאר באסמכתא. לפי הר"ן. שואל, שרוב האוכל, נכון? לפי הר"ן יוצא, according to the Ran, most, that was the kasha of the Pri Chodosh. According to the Ran, most roasted food of the goyim should be mutter mitzad bishul Akum. Steaks, chicken, any roasted vegetables, potatoes, sweet potatoes, all those things, even tomatoes, I don't know, tomatoes that's melting. But if it's not tomatoes and even squash has a strong skin, so it doesn't melt. But anything, unless you open it maybe, or you overcook it. But normally, if you didn't change the format, according to the Ran, permitted. That's what we said. And since the Shach holds that it's la alocha, ika la alocha, so according to the Shach, most roasted food of goyim, mitzad bishul Akum, not giul Akum, permitted, mutar. So the Ran says, it's not possible. Maybe it is. From dates, כתוב, העיני שליקי, שלוק is not overcooked, but who says roasted? Beitza roasted beitza, it is to change the creation of fire. That's what's also not a kasha. So I don't see a kasha knockout to the Ran. And since the Ran is not knocked out, so we have Ran, Rif, Rashi, Rashi, Rashbam, Verif. A Goldstein Shri, we have a kasha from Beitza. That's out. But we have so many Rishonim that are Lichoira in. Yes. What you go over? Yes. Maybe yes. Maybe if I take rice or I take klayot, I put it with honey or things like that, it may change. Yes, it's different. But just the grain itself is nothing change. Let's continue on. Just finish with this. ולא כן נראה עיקר. Comes the pri megod, pri chodesh, he says the main thing is, כמו שכוסף הרשב"א. The Rashba says, מה מים שלא השתנה בריאוס הדהור, אף כל שהשתנה בדהור, כלומר, which means, לא יאוסרו, אלא מה שהשתנה בדהור, מאיך שהאכילוסוי, בדור שלא ירוי מאיך שמקורא לאכילה, ואוכשר לאכילה דהור. The Rashba redefines, he says, you hear this from Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel. The Rashba says, what does it mean changes creation? Doesn't mean form. It means that was created not to be eaten. The way it's created, the creator cannot eat it. And now it changes creation, it can eat it. לפי זה, according to the Rashba, according to the Pri Megod, according to the Pri Chodosh, he says the Rashba is la'alocha. Those Rishonim has only two things. Cannot be eaten raw and goes on tables of king. That one makes it also. And cannot eat raw means that the fire change is creation, means before cannot be eaten, now can be eaten. Which means if the fire didn't change the format, if the fire changed the format, she's not allowed to eat it. What happened if the fire didn't change the format, but it changed its creation that it wasn't able to eat, now could be able to eat? There's one thing on to the Rashba. That's also considered changes creation. Mimele will be also mitzad Bishul Akum. So according to Pri Chodosh, steak, chicken, hot dogs, all those things. I'm joking. But steak, chicken, all those types of things that the fire didn't change the form, but since it cannot be eaten raw, it goes on tables of kings. And the fire didn't change the form, but the fire changed the way it's created, it can be able to eat it. It's like changing form, and Mimele is also. Taram. So therefore, the Maisi cannot eat after Machmir. Although we have a Shach that is lenient b'di'evet, but we have a Pri Megodi, Pri Chodesh, and Oyser. There was also, we found a Meiri that also learns. Meiri learns what has changed. Tzura, so it doesn't mean Tzura means cannot be eaten, now get eaten, or you cannot roll it back to its original form. Okay. Mussar Shmos. Ma. Nachon. אבל הרשב"א אומר שאין כלל שני שלישי. הר"ן אמר שיש 3 שקלים. נו, שור מלכים? זה מלכים. לא, מלכים אוהבים סטייק. זה מעלה, לא מדברים על האדג'קטיב. לא מדברים אוכל שמלך אוכל. אוכל, הכוונה בסיס, זה מה שאמרתי להם, עם הבסיס, המטריאל, זה דבר שאפשר לאכול מלכים אוכלים, אז זה אסור. וסטייק מלכים אוכלים. צ'יפ פיש מלכים לא אוכלים. טום הוק. Okay, we gave out, guys, I hope Reb Shlomi gave out printed Shulchan Aruch with dots, and he has his son made a sikum, and a very beautiful sikum. It's worthwhile to learn the Sugya Halacha. You should make a summary for yourself. And B'ezrat Hashem Sunday we'll start Masechet Kiddushin. Okay. What? Yes. No, we said Rabbi the Shach is right. The Ran is Zikr Halacha because we saw the Meiri that his Meyashiv is Kashis. The Shach says yes. Shach is right because all the Kasha, the Pri Chodosh is, we gave answers to. And we found that he's showing him like that. So Meiri is still in, still on. That's the Pashas. What? But definitely a Talmid Chochem don't be lenient. Says Talmid Chochem should be keep away. I know. Yes. We don't have enough time. You should learn it now yourself. The Minchas Yitzchak speaks about the difference between Sephardim and Ashkenazim. One of the things we started and we didn't learn it deep, we don't have enough time, is what permits Bishul Akum and what permits Afias Akum. So we talked about bread. That was the beginning of the sugya last week. If by bread, if one of the melachos be done by Jews, it permits it. What about cooked food? Now, cooked food, We saw that only by bread we permit, not by cooked food, and some Rishonim holds over by cooked food. The question is, by cooked food, one of the malachas that the goy permits is even just putting putting a kisam like in the fire. You don't have to put shvita. You don't have to put the pot on it. So machlokes Sephardim and Ashkenazim. So can a Sephardi do for Ashkenazi for Sephardi? That's his shaila. And he goes through the shaila with stikal halacha, and I don't know his conclusion. What was his conclusion?
I don't know.
You didn't read it, okay? I just read the top of it. I didn't see the conclusion.
I asked the Rabbi once, can a Sephardi-
And it's a big shaila. I'll tell you why. In countries that most of the people are Ashkenazim, like in America, or opposite, areas like in Eretz Israel, most people are Sephardim. So most of the places that don't know the halacha well, is not mehadrin, they would follow one of the shittas, mechamon ramo. Only the mehadrin they tell you, even if it's Yosef, even if it's ramo, or they'll tell you it's only shittas ramo. They would write in a heksha wizard. So we machmir both. But a lot of places you can't do both. It's hard to do both. So if you're not from that, you're eating by someone that is lenient, can be lenient. Toisa said, if I'm not makpid on bread of going, and you are eating by me, it's okay. It's okay to have bliois. Question, can you eat actually bread? That's the question. Can you eat actually food? Right. So I think from that Toisa, you're not allowed. And Lichoyer shouldn't be allowed. That was the question they asked at the Minchas Chita. I don't know his conclusion, but if you ask him with a simple mind, understand the he can't. He can't. If somebody is a Sephardi, Ashkenazi one eats by Sephardi wants to eat by Ashkenazi but we are lenient even kisam, and they need shvita. So if I was lenient in his Ashkenazi Sephardi, he cannot eat by me. Okay, you have to see. Okay, Akum. You have to learn the sugya, learn inside, and we're going to move on to the next masechta. Mussar shmuz. Mussar shmuz. Okay. We now in Parsha's Chaiei. Chaiei. Right. And I always had mind-boggling in my mind. In one place it says, whatever Sarah tells you, you have to listen to what she says. So Chazal learned that she was greater than Avraham Avinu Nevuah. She had greater Nevuah. Her vision was greater. Yet, we find out that she got punished. She's Chamose Alecho. She brought a judgment on somebody else. Anyone has a judgment on somebody else, you get punished first. She died early. Okay, I know that is good because she wanted to hear him. He's endangering her son Yitzchak. So maybe she's allowed. But we see where Hashem punished. Limor Babakama says, call anyone that puts a din, call a loisen din al chaver, puts a judgment on his friend, he gets punished first. And we learn from Sori Meinu. Hamotzi Alecha, she got punished. That's the Gemara. That's what I mentioned. That's the Gemara in Babakam. Yes. Another thing we see, that's one thing. Also, she laughed when the angel said, right? So how's it possible? What's going on? So the laughing we explained. Yes, last week I think I explained. I don't remember which yeshiva I gave him Mussar shmuz, but or here I don't know where was it. Laughing we what? Okay, so I don't remember. So I'll explain it. No, I did. It was a Mussar shmuz. You was Sunday or Monday something. One of the days I gave Mussar shmuz, and you gave it out to run in the middle. Okay, well, so I don't remember what's going on with it. I'm sorry. I have a lot of problems. Two of my daughters are not in school. My mind is, and my heart is not very, very hard. Very hard, tough time. Bezrat Hashem will help me. Bezrat Hashem will help them. As follows. So I explained that really you have to say that it says Vatitzchak Sora Bekirba. So Rashi says she looked on her stomach. But you would think that maybe she was laughing outside, or she laughed inside, which means only HaKadosh Baruch Hu that knows the down deep of a person was able to say she laughed. Now, okay, down deep, we didn't give an answer. I said the answer was that since Sarah Imeinu was barren and she now 90 years old, and then we brought the Pirkei de Rablozo that the reason why Hashem made Sarah Imeinu barren, in order that she would be able to forget about herself and focus on bringing converts to the world. That's why Hashem didn't give Avraham Avinu and Sarah Imeinu children, to be focused on others. And to be focused on the kids, or praying about the kids, having kids, so that we're able to focus on others and help others. So, if this the case is, Sarah Imeinu lived 90 years, or at least the last tens of years of her life, with totally letting go of the dream of having children, like any healthy woman wants children. And not only she accepted the reality, she was happy because she understood, as Rabbi says, that Hashem came to your children because they have to do a nefesh or becharan. They have to have spiritual children, and if they have children, will bother them. So 90 years, whatever, 70, 60, 50, 40 years, in her mind, she understands that that's Rosh Hashem, it's not the will of Hashem. And Rabbi, the will of Hashem that she not have children, because she needs to focus on guests, on making people recognize Hashem. And now she hears angels telling, listen, you're going to have a child. So the inside of her laughed on it, not that she didn't believe. Definitely she knows Hashem can do anything. But it was a switch in her whole being, the way she set herself up. So therefore, was out of her reality. So only the down deep inside laughed at it. But she wasn't laughing on the reality that if let's say you said, you believe Hashem can change the world, definitely can change. So I mean, is a prophet. She's a Neviah, greater than Avraham Avinu. That's the basic of a Navi. Knows Hashem, Hashem is the creator, do what he wants. But since she all her life was out of the picture and she believed not only a negative is out of the picture, and positive, Hashem doesn't want her to have children. In order to focus on Geri. So she left means she couldn't now readjust the whole, we say in English, gestalt, the whole outlook of her life different. That's where she left. And not outside, only Bekirma inside.
Since he couldn't,
yes. Since she couldn't have children, she understood that Hashem wants her to focus. Also, Avraham Avinu only till 86 years old, he had Ishmael. So what he understood, and what Hashem wants him to focus on, like Tony Rabbi says. He says that's the reason. So if Tony Rabbi said that's the reason, they understood that reason. And they believe that reason. They were happy with Hashem. They're happy with the reality. They were happy people. With Hashem's decree on them. Not like a barren woman that she's always bitterness woman, sharp tongue, self-egotistical, unsatisfied woman. Sarah was a satisfied woman. She knew that's her goal. To change a whole being, a whole picture and being, that she couldn't fathom. And that's what was laughing inside Bekirba. Okay, that's what we gave an answer yesterday. I mean, the other day, I don't know where and what. That's the answer I gave. But why she had Chamosi Alecho? Why she gave a judgment against Avraham Avinu? We know the rule is, call anyone that puts a judgment on his friend, he gets punished first, and she got punished. She says, Chamosi, you stole from me. Why didn't you pray for me? Yes, to her husband. When he came to pray and he asked for children, he asked for children, but he didn't ask for through me. So what's going on? Where we see here that Sarah Imeinu got punished on it. Must be there's something wrong. So what really happened here? That bothers me. What exactly happened here? What?
because
I understand, but I want to explain it with glasses that we understand Sarah Imeinu is a prophet, he's a big tzaddikus, and here in the Midos, She did what she has to. She was wrong because Hashem says it's wrong. She got punished. But you have to say that she had a spiritual picture, wrong spiritual. That's why she acted the way she acted. Yes.
Like you always say, that a woman, your wife, is as connected. She shapes you up.
Right.
But she said the Akum was right. She forgot the picture. She would have said, before God judged, she should have said, duh, you didn't pray for me.
No, she didn't say that. She says, let Hashem judge between me and you. She put a judgment on her husband. No, the Torah says that she should have complained to him, but not put a judgment on him. I'm not in your picture. She should have said, let God judge between me and you, that he didn't put me in the picture. Why she put a judgment on her husband of Avram Avinu? So I want to make a little bit of rewind. What exactly happened? Sarah Imeinu, she's 90 years old, and Avram Avinu is 100. But when Avram, 16 years before that, Sarah Imeinu is already 76 years old, 74 years old. Avram Avinu is getting married to his maidservant. That's what he gave him, and Ishmael comes out of it. When Sarah Imeinu was 70-something years old, she realized she cannot have children. She's giving Ogo. And then what happens? Hagar has a child, and he grows, and he has problems, and they send them, and Hashem said, whatever, the whole story there. But now we talk about Sarah Imeinu, who is 90 years old. Ishmael is 13 years old. And she said, you didn't put me in a picture. You didn't put me in a picture. And let Hashem judge you that you didn't put me in the picture. Now, why she understood that she has a right to complain that Avram Avinu should have put her in a picture and pray for her to have children through her, she had to complain. So what's going on here? Now she sees that the fruit of Avram Avinu prayed for a child, comes, you have a child 13 years old, and you have to know, and then Ishmael was not recognized, wasn't yet Yitzchak Busra. Only when he's 16 years old, when Yitzchak is born, 4 years later, when Yitzchak is born, and Yitzchak makes inauguration of he gets weaned from his milk, they make a version, only after that, she throws Ishmael. Ishmael went out to Dar Busra. But when Ishmael is 13 years old, he has a tzaddik. He has a tzaddik in a house. He has a tzaddik in a house. Right? So then what happens? She knows she's a tzaddikus. And she knows as a tzaddikus, she really deserved to have a child who was a tzaddik. But it's not enough that only one side is a tzaddik. You need two tzaddikim to create Yitzchak. And Avraham Avinu didn't put his tzidkus together with her. He paired it with Agol and came this tzaddik Ishmael. It's true, but he said you could have prayed through me. So she said, I have a judgment, I have a time against him. Because Lamais in this moment, she felt this loss forever and ever. Sarah Imeinu was going to die and finish, nothing will come out of her. The Jewish nation will come out through Ishmael. That was that moment. So Jewish nation is coming through Ishmael in case we have this tzaddik child of Avraham Avinu training him. And he's 13 years old, has a bar mitzvah. So she says, true that Og is a tzaddikus, but most are tzaddikus. And you had a choice where to bring the partnership with yourself. Because you're a tzaddik, and your wife is a tzaddikus. You can have tzaddikus 1, tzaddikus 2. And I'm the real wife. She's a maidservant. So Hashem, he says, you did something wrong. It's not only he didn't put me in the picture, stop, I want a child. No. Her spiritual future, and I'm supposed to, the whole Jewish nation are coming through her, it's coming through Ishmael. She says she wants a judgment, she wanted to base it on it. Why she lost it? It was she could have had it. She was another tzaddikus to have it, and he chose it. Was in the hands of Avraham Avinu. Hashem wants to give reward to Avraham, and he had two options, 2 ways, and he chose it the other way. I have a judgment against it, but she was wrong. Because why she was wrong? A very strong taina. Why cannot I have a judgment? I want to come to court.
What's the judgment going to accomplish?
What is going to accomplish? Maybe that's the punishment. Nothing going to accomplish on it. But Chaiei's judgment means, she says, injustice, and Hashem can fix the justice. Right? Hashem can fix. And then we found that Ishmael became a Tarbus Ra, and she had a child. So instead of focusing on judgment of Avraham Avinu, she should have focused of Hashem helping her to have a child. And not bringing a judgment on somebody else. And I want to finish with the Gemara in Gittin, a story in Daf Zayin. The Gemara brings down a story of an Amoira. Was an Amoira named Gniva. That was his name, Gniva. He's brought down the whole Shas 4 or 5 times. Even the Gemara later on says, in Daf, I think Chav Zayin or Lamed, some Lamed Aleph, in Gittin the Gemara says that when he passed by, some other Amorim didn't want to talk to him. He says, because you're a person of fight. When we say soon the story. But then he started talking to him and he told him a word of Torah, and the Gemara agreed to what he said. So the story goes that Rabbi Lozo sent a letter to his Rebbe, Rabbi Lozo, Rav Chizda, sent a letter. Rabbi Lozo sent to Rav Chizda or opposite. The Samoiro, I remember the name, Gittin Dafav. I forgot the names, went off my mind a second, doesn't matter. Yeah, no, right after Pilegesh. The Gemara says that if you don't catch with the names, but I think is Rabbi Chizda sent a letter to Rabbi Lozo, his Rebbe. Said, listen, some people standing upon me and I cannot live and I can give them away to the kingdom. Complain and give them away, can I do that or not? So Rabbi Lozo says, no, don't give them away. He sent him a letter again, and I cannot handle it. It's too much on me. So he says, you know what? Be silent. He brought a pasuk. Dom la Hashem. Silent to Hashem. Get up in the morning. Right. Get up on him early morning to Bismedesh. Go to night to Bismedesh. Learn Torah. Be silent, and Hashem will put them down like halalim, dead people around. He will kill them off. Since Rabbi says the word kill him off, it was like a curse. And right away they grabbed the Samoiro Gniva, and the government caught him and they put him to be killed. There's another Mishnah that says that when Gniva was going to kill, he gave his money away to Tzedakah, etc. The Gemara says you can give all your money or not. It's a whole discussion. But this Samoiro, that was the story. Now, what does that mean? He asked, this guy can't live. They're strangling me. I want to get rid of them. I want to give a judgment to the government. No, he can't. So what do? Be silent, and Hashem will take care. What does silent means? Get up early morning, daven to Hashem, learn Torah, and Hashem will take care of you. Which means that Sorei Meinu really had a judgment. But a focus should not be a judgment. A focus should be silent and praying to Hashem that she has a relation with Hashem, whatever detail, not to get down the other, punish the other, rather to take care of herself. I don't say the problem, but she had definitely a judgment. The whole Klal Yisrael is changing now in form, in the choice of a husband, and he chooses through her, through Agun. It's happening. He's 20 years old. He's a tzaddik. He's growing. Turn over now and then, but that moment was there. So she had a judgment, a true judgment against him. But she wanted, as a tzaddik, as a Sorei Meinu, she shouldn't have put the judgment on Avraham Avinu. She should focus on herself and pray to Hashem that Hashem will take care of her. And Hashem did in him with Shabbos. Rabbi Hanania ben Akash עוד צעק ונשפוך ולזעק ישראל לפיקה. אם הוא יותר מזה שנאמר, אני לא יכול בעצם צדקו יותר ויעיל. קדל ויסקדל שמי לבוא. ואומר לי לא כמוסי ולא מוסי. חי יכולים ויכולים לחנכות בית ישראל. באגולו מצוות קוראים גומר. Isador, Isalem, Isalo, Shmei de Kudusho, Vidhu, Leila Mikon, Mikosov, 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 Gomer, Mobi, Gomer, Ad Yisroel, Vagabonon, Vatamim, Yoim, Vatamim, Yisroel, Yoim, Val Kol, Banos, Kimora, Isabel, Shoadei, Sara, Sa, Yelon, Kon Shomoga, Bokino, Misora, Kami, Kaina, Vidhu, Kufu, Kona, Mikon, Shomoga, Gomer, Yisroel, Shmai, Kaimole, Goldstein, Gomer, Shalom, Yasema, Hamon, Shalom, Aleinu, Goldstein, Gomer.
לא, עולה את ה... לא טבעי, עולה את
היום.
בבעלה. זה טבע של האישה.
איזה אפשרות?
זה nature of the woman. לא, זה לא כתוב, זה לא תולה בבעלה, זה לא מיוחד.
כן, כן, זה כתוב.
זה טבע, זה nature of the woman.
לא בימינו, זמן בימינו.
זה צריך, צריך.
Yes. Give it to others?
What's that?
You give it to others?
No, no.
What?
I mean, I'm not the issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Rabbi Yitzchak, can you give a copy to Eliel Silver or Chaim? Give me a copy to Eliel Silver or Chaim for me.
That she really had it.
You hear me?
Have somebody else?
No,
I'm not.
no.
It's what she wants to take. Hold up, man.
So, this is the first 35.
I've already.
I have all the, I have to get it into the book, but this is the first, I have all of it. Putting it in.
Not in the soft.
No, it's gonna look like the chart and reading it'll be on the shelf, but then those will be part of this. No, exactly. Yeah, I can give it to her face. I mean, there are shapes. The problem is by necessity. Again, I can go through it again. What's going to take time? No, because like there's because part of it's AI and part of it when it makes a change, you have to work with each layout to figure it out. No, today I found these two things. I can get married now. I tried to find a woman. This is your engagement. This is for the wedding. What? Joe, but right in here. Okay.
So it only says my name, yeah?
Yeah, it says,
Yeah, it's fine.
right.
Yeah.
A couple of
Yeah, I was here like a year and a half.